Thank you, Rakesh. Huyu Rakesh, Rais ndio aliyekuwa na ile tuwaweza ile. Ndio huyu alikuwa anatuponda sana.
Sasa hivi amekuwa mzuri sana.
Lakini tulivumiliana wakati ule. Kuna wakati usingeweza yale. Your Excellency Dr. Samia Suluhu Hassan, President of the United Republic of Tanzania, Your Excellency of the Africa Drive for Democracy, Your Excellency Haile Mariam Desalegn, former Prime Minister of the Federal Democratic Republic of Ethiopia, conveners of this forum, distinguished invited guests, ladies and gentlemen. My task today is simple: to welcome Your Excellency, Madam President, to speak and grace this retreat of former leaders, former African leaders who some call elders. But before I do so, please permit me to join my two fellow former leaders who spoke before me to thank you most sincerely for accepting the invitation and for allocating time out of your very busy schedule to come in person to grace this meeting. It means a lot to about a dozen of us who are part of this initiative. It demonstrates the importance that you personally and your esteemed government attach not only to the ideals of this retreat, but also to the discourse on democracy and development in Africa. Your Excellency, the relevance of this retreat of former leaders cannot be overstated. It is timely, and it is needed in view of the multiple crises facing the African continent. As mentioned earlier by previous speakers, political conflicts, wars, climate change, the COVID-19 pandemic, the high energy and food prices, the ongoing Russia-Ukraine war, and several others have been impacting negatively on growth and development in our dear continent. These challenges have been compounding the already fragile situation in many countries in Africa. The confluence of these crises has exposed Africa's economic and governance frailties and underscores the need and importance of collectively exploring homegrown solutions to African problems. As a former leader myself, I can rightly testify that sitting African leaders have a pivotal role to play in addressing these challenges. It is their primary responsibility, but I believe also that former leaders can play a role in this regard. They are well connected with both the past and the present, and can contextualize existing challenges and share their reflections of past experiences with existing readers. At this juncture, I would like to take this opportunity to commend my fellow former leaders, His Excellency Ernest Bai Koroma, the former President of Sierra Leone, and for being the flag bearer of this wonderful initiative. President, we thank you. Also, His Excellency Haile Mariam, former Prime Minister of the Federal Democratic Republic of Ethiopia, who is participating, like me, for the first time. As already mentioned, His Excellency Joachim Chissano, former President of the Republic of Mozambique, will join us later. Maybe he's on his way from the airport. But I thank them for agreeing to join this important conversation in person. But I thank the chair, President Koroma. We have been whispering. I've been trying to, well, why are you laughing? You know, I've been trying to make him agree that Arusha becomes the seat of this initiative. And he has generously accepted. So, Prime Minister, if the chairman have said yes, can you say no?
I already said it.
Then it's done. In the same vein, I commend the other 9 leaders who have joined this initiative. They were supposed to be with us, but could not for various reasons. Some are joining us virtually, enabled and facilitated by modern advances in information and communications technology. I'm told President Ellen Johnson Sirleaf was ready to address this meeting here, but this room is not made for that, unfortunately. But she will talk to us, President, after we leave this room at another facility. Your Excellency, President, former leaders and distinguished participants will share their thoughts, wisdom, and experiences on the broader areas of governance and development, but accord specific attention on the intriguing subject of the state of democracy in Africa. I'm of the view that for one to fully appreciate the current situation in Africa, it is worthwhile to reflect on the challenges we have been grappling with in the political, economic, and development arena from a historical perspective. Most of the challenges we are facing, our countries today, are a continuum of what has been happening in the past. Since independence in the 1960s, successive governments of African countries have been preoccupied with the overarching task of nation building, which involved matters relating to holding the country together. As you know, President, and all the distinguished participants, Africa is the only country that the borders are arbitrary. No continent in the world has borders like ours, like ours. They are straight line, which means the borders are not natural. It appears that somebody was holding a rope on one side and the other on this end, drawing a line. The right is mine, the left is yours. And in the process, they've created nations that have a lot of difficulties. They've created conflicts within nations and conflicts between nations. So holding together such countries is a mammoth task. The other is establishing systems of government and governance, building an equitable and inclusive society, promoting inclusive social economic growth and development, and fighting vices in society. Interestingly, these have remained priority and important areas of preoccupation for our leaders and their nations up to this day, despite progress made over the past 6 decades. Indeed, a lot of ground has been covered and significant progress has been made over the past 60 years since independence. However, the levels of progress made differ from country to country and between our continent of Africa and other continents. On democracy in Africa and other aspects of nation building, of the nation building agenda. We are doing this for purposes of advising on pathways forward to greater progress. Your Excellency President, my fellow former leaders, ladies and gentlemen, each country has a different story to tell as far as the nation building project is concerned. But I can dare say with confidence that we in Tanzania have somewhat been lucky. In many ways, it is thanks to the vision and efforts of our founding fathers, Mwalimu Julius Nyerere, the first president of the Republic of Tanganyika, and later the first president of the United Republic of Tanzania, and Sheikh Abeid Aman Karume, the first president of the People's Republic of Zanzibar, and later the vice president of the United Republic of Tanzania. They laid a firm and strong foundation upon which successive generations of leaders, me included, have continued to advance the nation building project in our country. Now we are proud, we are a proud nation of 61 million people, made up of 126 tribes, subscribing to different faith, members of different political parties. I think we have 24 political parties, very democratic. Prime Minister, how many do we have in Ethiopia?
58.
58? You have beaten us. But we are at peace with ourselves. In many aspects of the human development indicators, we are better off today than we were at independence or even to 20 or 10 years ago. However, there are still many challenges that we need to continue to be working on to consummate the goal of a united, stable, democratic, and prosperous Tanzania. It is heartwarming to note that Your Excellency President Dr. Samia Suluhu Hassan and your esteemed government have steadily stayed the course. You are not only sustaining the gains made so far, but you are steadfast and committed to advancing the country to greater heights. Congratulations, Your Excellency. And please continue to do the good work. And just like your motto, kazi iendelee. Unfortunately, some African countries have not been so lucky in the nation building agenda. Most of the conflicts we are witnessing today in our continent can be attributed in one way or another to the failures in the nation building agenda. It is no surprise that when one looks at many development, democracy, and governance indicators of many institutions, many African countries will be at the bottom half of the list, or at the bottom half of the pecking order. And our motherland, the African continent, collectively will be the least performer. This situation is not acceptable, It has to change. We must hasten the pace of change. We should do everything within our power to do that. Yes, we can. Your Excellency, ladies and gentlemen, as we endeavor to address these common challenges facing our continent, it is important for us as former and current leaders to continue to interrogate, analyze, and express from the African perspectives the way that suits us as Africans. This is precisely what this auspicious gathering sets out to do. I'm hopeful that the debate and deliberations that will ensue in the course of the 2 days will add to the mantra of Africans coming together to forge African solutions to African problems. I beseech my fellow former leaders and I to leverage our experience so that we can embark together on a journey that seeks to realize a prosperous future for Africa, where our continent is integrated, prosperous, democratic, and peaceful. A continent that is driven by its own citizens, representing a dynamic force on the international arena, as is stipulated in OAU's Agenda 2063. Your Excellency, I once again thank you for joining us. And after these many words, it is now my singular honor and pleasure to invite Your Excellency to the podium to deliver your keynote address. We are all ears. Thank you. Karibu sana Mheshimiwa Rais.